Lokichogio, also Lokichogio or Lokichokio, is a town in the Turkana District, northwest of Kenya. It is often called Loki. The town lies on the A1 road, and is served by the Lokichogio Airport. It is about 30 kilometers from the international border with South Sudan and hosts the UN offices, around 49 NGOs, and a large orthopedic hospital run by the ICRC. Local people are mainly nomads of the Turkana tribe and derive the livelihood by looking after indigenous cattle. 90 kilometers south of Loki is Kakuma, one of the largest refugee camps in Kenya. Refugees from Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, the DRC, and several other surrounding countries can be found in Kakuma. Loki is the outermost Kenyan town on the border with Sudan. Kenyans from the southern part of Loki, however, maintain that Lodwar is the last truly Kenyan town in the region, about 200 kilometers south. At the north end of Loki, beyond the noted dry riverbed, the Kenyan military had set up a border checkpoint. This was initially considered the true border between Kenya and Sudan, but was later moved in 2009 to a new checkpoint 2 kilometers to Nadapal. The new checkpoint is manned by the Kenya police officers and the immigration department. The Sudanese checkpoint is 2 kilometers away from this newly constructed checkpoint. The area known as No Man's Land is situated between these two checkpoints. The Middle East Reformed Fellowship maintains a base here to administer diaconal aid to Sudan, a training center for pastors and elders from Sudan, Kenya, and surrounding areas, and a broadcasting center that prepares messages in the Dinka and Nuer languages. During the war between what is now southern Sudan to include Nuba Mountains, South Kordofan Province, Loki was the singular resupply logistics point for the SPLA. Many flights originated from a Loki to resupply SPLA units in Nuba Mountains under the leadership of Abdul Aziz. IO and NGOs to include support from Uganda, Kenya, USA, Norway and others were most prominent in supporting the SPLA-M. During the interim ceasefire in early 2002 in Nuba Mountains, non-lethal logistical supplies were authorized by the government in Sudan, at the time termed the National Islamic Front, now termed the National Congress Party. The only medical facility, as previously mentioned, was in Loki. Anyone requiring medical attention had to be flown from Nuba Mountains, near Kauda, to Loki. In one case in early May 2002, a double-stacked anti-tank mine detonated just prior to the visit of Abdul Aziz, killing 2 and wounding 3 other SPLA advisors. According to Randy Hampton, a former U.S. Army as an advisor on the ground in Nuba Mountains with the SPLA, one of the injured was Major Tutu, SPLA's higher-rankings officers. Major Tutu and 2 others were evacuated after stripping the plane of seats. Unfortunately, Major Tutu and 1 other died en route to Loki's ICRC hospital due to lack of blood. Today, Nuba Mountains remains aligned with southern Sudan, and Abdul Aziz is currently in Nuba Mountains, as late 2013, supporting the efforts to bring sustained peace and security to the nearly 1.5 million Nuba Mountains population. In fiction, the town has been mentioned several times in pieces of fiction dealing with UN and NGO aid activity there. It was featured in the John le Carré book on which the 2005 film The Constant Gardener was based, and served as the setting for much of Philip Caputo's novel, Acts of Faith.